You flee for your life when Boko Haram attacks your hometown in Adamawa, northeastern Nigeria. By the time you return, a neighbor had already begun building on your family compound. When you protest, he bribes the authorities and dismisses you, telling you that you have no one to inherit the home. Your son, who used to be your main caretaker, went missing during the war, and you have not heard from him since. Which weighs more heavily? Grieving a missing loved one without knowing if he's alive or dead, or facing daily struggles that come with losing your caretaker? Either way, the consequences are crushing. So how do you cope with grief, poverty, and injustice all at once?
Welcome to Vestiges of Violence. Here, we talk about survivors. For Human Angle,
I am Hajara, standing in for my colleague Sabika. Aisha Muhammad is originally from Cameroon. She moved to Nigeria over 40 years ago after she got married to her first husband. Following their separation a few years later, she remarried and had 3 children, 2 sons and a daughter. They lived a peaceful life together, with her husband providing for their family while she managed the household. When he died in late 2012, her eldest son, Abubakar, stepped up as the breadwinner. She never had to worry about her next meal. Abubakar was preparing to get married right before the war started. The news had gone round the town. A date was set. Invitation cards were printed and distributed. But the war started, and they were forced to flee.
When we ran away, my children scattered, and I lost contact with them. I later heard that my second son was in Cameroon. Then he moved to Lagos, but sadly, he died 4 years and 7 months ago. I heard he fell from a bridge and broke his neck. However, I haven't heard from my eldest son till today.
When Aisha finally returned home, she saw that her neighbor had started building on her property. She tried to reclaim the space, calling on the same person who had originally allocated the land to her to intervene. He confirmed it was hers and asked the neighbor to take down the wall, but the man refused. The argument escalated until it nearly turned violent. She took the case to the traditional authorities. At first, they stood by her and ordered the man to dismantle his building. But once he bribed them, everything changed.
Suddenly, they just told me to be patient. At the time, her second son was still alive in Lagos. He comforted me over the phone, told me to let it go and trust God. After his death, I was alone, no support, no advocate. My neighbor even told me that I didn't have anyone to inherit from me anyway.
A few years ago, a friend of Abubakar's, who is a soldier, told her he had seen someone who looked exactly like him at the barracks after returning from deployment in Sambisa Forest. But when he tried to approach the man, he was stopped and told that it was a different person. Still, Aisha held on to hope. She put up a part of her home for sale to raise money for the journey to Maiduguri, hoping to search for him herself. But a family friend there offered to go on her behalf. He never got back to her. Later, she learned he had fallen ill and died. Another time, she heard from a man in the market who claimed he could help. He said he knew people in Sambisa and could find missing persons. She brought him a photo of Abubakar. She waited for days and months. It has been 3 years now. She never saw the man again. Each time news reaches her about her missing son, she feels a mix of heartbreak and hope. He was known for being kind, generous, and respectful. Everyone loved him, she says, and he never fought with anyone. Earlier this year, a man approached her asking her about her missing son again. He told her about the accompaniment program by the International Committee of the Red Cross for families of the missing.
Since then, they've taught us many things that help ease our minds. I kept to myself and didn't socialize, but now I feel better. They comfort us, they empower us.
The psychological support also gave her the strength to fend for herself. She stopped begging from house to house and took a small loan to start petty trading. But she admits that sometimes when her profit runs out, she still has to beg. But she tries to rely less on others. Even with all her effort, food insecurity remains a constant concern. On some days, it doesn't even cover her transportation to the market. So she now sells closer to home. Aisha too lives with her granddaughter. Her daughter, she says, has grown distant. She says all she wants now is food and peace, just enough to survive.
Whenever that comes, I will rest. Before then, I wish to see my son again. But right now, peace and food, that's all I want.
This story was reported and scripted by Sabiq Abello, presented by Hajara Ibrahim. The multimedia editor is Anthony Asamota. The executive producer is Ahmed Selkida. In order to protect the lives and identities of survivors, we use voice actors for this episode. If you or anyone you know have a story to share on Vestiges of Violence, do not hesitate to get in touch with us.